call this meeting of the Only City Council, February the 9th, 2026 to order. Please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing as the Reverend Jason Burkett says our opening prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Holy Father, we come before you tonight to say thank you. Thank you for who you are. We thank you that even in Scripture you describe yourself as the compassionate and gracious one, slow to anger, abounding in love. And so God, even tonight, may we reflect that character. So guide our hearts, our minds. And again, for this, the councilman and the mayor, I pray for wisdom and insight. God, in every decision, I pray that they glorify you above all. Help them to be caretakers of all these people represented in this town. So help them to remember you, help them to remember the people, and even I pray blessings over their families. And so thank you for this opportunity. In your son's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Thank you very much. Call the roll, please.
Councilman Miller,
Present.
Councilman Fehrenbacher.
Here.
Councilwoman Eichhorst,
Present.
Councilman Iyer,
Present.
Mayor Lambert.
Here. First item on the agenda is public comments and presentations. Are there any public comments?
Hello, my name is Zach Holder. I'm one of the members of the Planning Commission. I would just like to echo our cautiousness amongst our other Planning Commission members that we had a long, lengthy discussion the last meeting we were here, and a lot of concerns. My concern tonight, and possibly with procedure, is during the last Planning Commission meeting that this issue was taken up, written notice was sent to the residents that were within 200 feet of the proposed property rezoning. It is probably, in the legal opinion, not required, but I believe that having a gap of 5 months since June, usually in a Planning Commission meeting, it is mentioned that this will be brought up in the next City Council meeting for the City Council to review. And talking with other Planning Commission members, me personally, I just feel that there should have been notice sent on this issue just because of the concern of the residents that we had in the area. And I'm not telling the council how to decide either way, but I do feel from that meeting that possibly, I don't know if all the residents in that area were properly notified to attend this meeting tonight, and that's about it.
Thank you very much. Further public comments?
As you all know, I'm Joe King, and there's not as many people here tonight. It does not mean that the neighborhood has lost interest in this project. We're to the point that we feel like we come here, we hear stuff, nothing ever comes of it. I think you need to make a decision, get off of the middle road on it. When we went to court and lost because the attorney did not have the information that he needed to present, then the other guy won. And Jack, I have absolutely nothing against you whatsoever, and surprisingly enough, I agree with a lot of your points of view on a lot of different things. But we do not, absolutely 100%, do not want that zoned industrial. We do want it kept mowed and maintained. And I know Bryce, you made the comment, well, if it doesn't generate revenue, then eventually the city's gonna be left to tear it down. I think most of us would be willing to negotiate to the point that if Jack wanted to make apartments in that building, I don't think you would run across a lot of major objections, But there are things rather than rezoning industrial that would allow that and would still limit it to housing only. But I think you guys need to get off and make a decision, because it's very tiresome to come up here every 2, 3, 4 months, whatever, and never get an answer. We never go anywhere for it. That's not what y'all were elected for. You were elected to represent the people of Alny, and you all know by the numbers how the people of Alny feel about this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. As I'm sure you guys have guessed, I'm probably up here for the same thing. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Jacob Bulb. I grew up in the neighborhood. I have family and friends in the neighborhood that are affected by this rezoning. I'm here to respectfully oppose the changing from C2 to the C2 general commercial. You know, over the years, this lot has clearly been left empty. And it was a church at one point, but, so, I mean, the yard needs to be mowed. That would be nice. Overall, like, we're open to apartments. That would be nice. Right now, if it gets rezoned to C2 commercial, that could inhibit some issues with the neighboring children, with the upcoming or increase in traffic, along with noise disruptions, and there's not much we can do about that if it's rezoned to C2 commercial industrial. Along with other property conditions, there is most likely a lot of asbestos and lead pipes and lead paint in that building that it will probably have to be remediated and tore down in order to get it to work. Nothing against you, Jack. I have no issue with you. I would just like to see the neighborhood stay residential, and apartments wouldn't be an issue. I mean, I grew up in that area. It's a nice neighborhood. Obviously, things change. Can't always control that, but thank you, guys.
Thank you. Further public comments?
Well, I'm gonna reiterate upon what has been said in a way. No, I don't think anybody on that street up there has a problem with Jack himself. I think they have a problem with what Jack is wanting to do. I don't think anybody up there would be against residential housing going in that lot. That's not a problem. I think that if it's zoned commercial, it opens up the door for so much more stuff that don't need to be up there. If it can be multi-family dwellings or what have you, and we would like for it to be kept neat. All our yards up there are kept neat. We'd like for it to be kept neat. Finally, Jack Frost, not Jack Iyer, Jack Frost got around to mowing the weeds, and the snow laid them down, so he is in compliance now. But next spring, is it gonna be the same thing? Are you gonna mow it? Are you gonna take care of it? Because, I mean, you know, we've got a big investment up there. Some of these people have invested more up there than they've invested in anything in their life, their home. And we just ask that it just goes to family dwellings only, whether it be multifamily, apartments. If he wants to spend the money to go in there and revamp that building, I don't care. Go for it. You know, that's not a problem to me. I can look at that building and see a lot of dollars that's gonna have to be spent to make that apartments. I mean, every time you go to do something like that, it's gonna cost you double of what you think it's gonna cost. It's gonna have to have plumbing run through the whole building all over again. It's gonna have to have new electrical, new lighting, new walls. Or, I don't know, is it gonna be, how many bedroom apartments it's gonna be? I don't care, you know. As long as the outside's kept neat and everything is in order, I don't think anybody up there would have a problem with it. But we have a problem with the way it looked last summer, Jack. I'll be honest with you, we did. And We just don't want that, and we'd like to lock it down to where if you wanna spend the money and do that, I think the neighborhood would be behind you. But if the weeds get up high again, you know, that's a different issue. We don't like that. So basically, I'd like to see it zoned something residential if you're gonna change the zoning and not commercial. Because commercial opens up the door for a lot of stuff. Thank you.
Further public comments? Further public comments? Seeing none, we'll move on. Next item on the agenda is presentation of the consent agenda, which includes to approve minutes of the council meeting on January 22nd and January 26th, 2026. Approve and authorize payments of accounts payable February 10th, 2026. A raffle license from the Only Little League, and a raffle license from Rolling Thunder Illinois number 3. Any of these items need to be removed from the consent agenda? I would accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda, under presentation of ordinances and resolutions. Possible ordinance to rezone 701 North Silver Street from R2 Single Family Residential District to C2 Commercial District. Mr. Bradley.
In your packets is a proposed ordinance that, if approved tonight, would rezone this property to C2 Commercial District. In your packets, you'll also find a copy of the Plan Commission minutes from June 2nd, 2025, and a listing of factors to consider in determining a zoning request. Lastly, you will find a letter submitted by Plan Commission Chairperson David Abel and a letter from petitioner Jackson Iyer. That'll send that to you.
Thank you very much. Questions or comments?
I've spoken to quite a few of the neighbors, and I share absolutely the concern with the yard. I'm concerned about what would be in the area. I've done a lot of research on what the C2 would bring. It wouldn't be able to bring a junkyard, wouldn't be a bar, wouldn't be a casino. Under C2, it's very simple. It would include residential. It would also give him the ability to be able to build small offices. So, from what I have looked at, I've tried to think of what the worst case scenario would be of, you know, what do we just not want in that neighborhood? And I can't find anything in the future that somebody would be building that would be a real nuisance. Gary, do you have something?
Can you have a mechanic shop there?
Well, somebody, is it?
I think under C2 you can, Mr. Bruner.
Okay.
You can or can't?
I believe you can.
And how can you forecast, if you zone it industrial, what's going to be there 20 years from now?
So clarification there, it's C2, not industrial. So commercial. So no industrial type things in that.
We have enough empty buildings in Olney for most commercial businesses to relocate if they wish to do advantage to Olney or to our neighborhood by making another place available. Like everybody said, nobody objects to having housing there. That would fit in with where it is. But we do not need other businesses of any kind coming out there. It doesn't serve a realistic purpose.
So he could, if somebody, maybe Jack sells it, somebody, whatever, wants to start a garage there and park 15 semi trucks there, they could do that under this zoning you're proposing?
Somebody know that answer?
I don't know that answer, Mr. Brainerd. I don't know if you could have
Could it happen?
15 trucks sitting
What I'm
there. I don't
asking
know.
is, could it happen?
I don't know.
But Bryce, you need to know before you vote on this stuff.
Well, what terminology is it can have a garage? I mean, that's the terminology. Can it be a shop where he works on heavy equipment? Can it be a shop where he tinkers? I don't care. but are we gonna be looking at a bunch of old semis and bulldozers in the future after he sells it and it moves on down on the road? You've already got the zoning out there. Can you not change it to something that is residential to fit in with the rest of the community there?
Mr. Iyer, would you, if we were to have, you resubmit this as R4, would that satisfy you?
No, it would not. I was asked that by Chairman Abel also. The old portion of the school building, which was built in 1928, consists of basically 8 classrooms of about 750 square feet, which would make very nice 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. However, in 1961, an additional 12,500 square feet was added to the structure, being on one level, which ended up was 6 additional classrooms and a gymnasium, of which 4 of the classrooms have been removed, and that's where the church had their sanctuary, which is a nice large area. So the old school, yes, absolutely would lend itself to apartments, which is part of my vision for that property. But it also allows, the lower portion is not conducive to apartments. And to generate the needed, the necessary income, and to utilize the property that has been built and not waste it, the proper rehabilitation and reutilization of the structure would allow the old portion to be apartments and the new portion to be not only, I foresee at least 2 business suites, but also I am a car hobbyist. I am not a heavy-duty mechanic, Mr. Brainerd. I do not deal with heavy equipment. I deal with mostly import small cars, mostly MG Stripes and such and I do repair of individual components. Yes, I would have a garage. I repair carburetors for people, which is seemingly a lost art. I repair alternators. I've repaired, rebuilt engines. That's the kind of thing that I'm interested in. And the car hobbyists want a place, not just to store their car in an unheated garage. Most car hobbyists would like a conditioned space to store their vehicles. And I have been in the car hobby for 45 years, easily, probably more than that, 50. And I have been approached to say, you know, if you could have a conditioned space with a wash bay inside, we would be very interested in partaking of that business, of which the lower new portion lends itself to admirably. Finally, that's
the point, Jack. I don't think you understand what we're trying to say here. We've tried to tell you that we're not opposed to you individually, but when you change this, the zoning, tomorrow you fall over and somebody else buys it. If it's zoned that way, that's what they can do. There's nothing we can do about that. What you're doing, I understand. All we would like is for it to be kept residential. If you want to put her in that shop with a carburetor, I really don't care. But the bottom line is, when you sell that and it's commercial, they can go in there and they can put a dadgum ready-mix plant up.
That is absolutely not true. They cannot put a ready-mix plant. They cannot.
Well, I'm not talking about you, Jack. I'm talking about
No,
after you're
So,
gone.
C2 does
Could
not
you
allow for a
clarify
ready-mix.
what would be allowed and what wouldn't?
There's a bit of a list. Do you mind if I run down the list?
Do the list.
Okay.
Is it allowed?
She's
go
going to
through the
tell you.
Okay, under C2, you can do any use permitted under the C1 neighborhood shopping district, which is lesser restriction.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Any use permitted in the C1 neighborhood shopping districts, which is much more condensed. Off-premise commercial sign or billboard advertising. Automobile or trailer display and sales rooms, but only when located not less than 50 feet from any R residential district. And you guys abut this property. Business or commercial school, when located not less than 100 feet away from any residential district, a bowling alley, drive-in restaurant, drive-in theater, other similar place of entertainment or amusement. Then we go to a dancing or music academy, display room for merchandise, whether it be wholesale or sold elsewhere, farm implements, display and sales room, a frozen food locker, a hotel or motel, milk distributing station, parking or public garage, plant nursery or greenhouse, radio or television broadcasting station or studio, telephone, business, office, or exchange, theater, undertaking establishment, veterinarian or animal hospital, or riding academy, provided that no such building, kennel, or exercise runway would be closer than 50 feet to any residential district. Used car sales or a storage lot when located at least 50 feet from any residential district. When not employing more than 10 persons on the premises, you could do dyeing and cleaning establishment or laundry, painting, plumbing, or tinsmithing, a printing shop, tire sales and service, including vulcanizing, upholstering shop not involving furniture manufacturing, any other general service or repair establishment of similar character. You could do accessory building or use customarily incidental to any of the above uses. And then you could do an adult use cannabis dispensing organization under a whole bunch of different rules that do not qualify at this location.
Okay, so I wanna ask the board, all that stuff she read there, would any member of the board want that next to their house? Or would you rather have a residence? And that's what could happen in the future. Not maybe with Jack, but Jack's like the rest of it, he's getting older every day. I am too, everybody in here is facing that same thing. When you change the zoning, it's hard to get it changed back after you've already started a commercial situation. All we're asking is it stays residential, multi-residential. If he wants to do the apartments, go for it, Jack, we don't care. But as far as all that other stuff that can be put in there, a veterinarian clinic, a bowling alley, how many of you guys want that next to your house? And it could happen.
Does it have to be?
Will it happen? I don't know. I don't think anybody in this room knows.
So actually, those were restricted uses because they're within 100 feet of a resident.
I can throw a baseball 100 feet, Mayor.
They
That-
were restricted.
It's restricted. It's not allowed.
So
on that.
you
But
pretend that
100
the
feet's
streets
nothing.
aren't there and it's adjoining property.
I understand that, but it's still very close, 100 feet. This building here is probably 55 feet, double this room.
I don't understand why you, as elected officials, have so much difficulty in representing the people that put you in office. Because that's really what it comes down to.
I think from time to
sorry,
time, with that being said, I think that there are any number of people that might not think that we are representing their best interests, but we have to represent the best interests of all people and not just certain.
Well,
And that's what we'd like for you to do now, represent everyone.
Because we had a group of folks that was not very happy about us rezoning up north by Walmart, but I think for the majority of the town of Olney, that was a benefit.
But the bottom line is, if you went to your neighborhood and said, we're gonna build a bowling alley 100 feet from your house, how many people would be opposed to that? If we're going to put in a slaughterhouse or something, a veterinarian clinic or whatever, how many people in your neighborhood would want that? How about you, Matt? Would they allow that out there at your place? Nobody was gonna want that stuff there. It may not happen with Jack's tour duty, but it could happen in the future. All we're asking is that you make it where it will stay residential. That's all we're asking. We're not asking for the world.
Items mentioned were not allowed.
Some of the items that were mentioned were not allowed,
Right.
or within restrictions.
Within those restrictions, and all those met that list.
No, under certain categories, certain groups of those would not be allowed in this particular property because so much of the adjoining property, because you can't take away the street distance. You have to pretend like that's not there. So any residential properties are technically adjoining it. So those would not be within 50 or 100 feet, of course, because it would be right next to it.
But our best protection, hon, is to make sure that it stays zoned.
Oh, I was just providing a clarification, not an opinion.
Yeah, she was just stating the fact.
Yeah, I know, hey, I wasn't picking on her.
No, I just wanted to
Decided to
make
pick
that
on
one
me,
clear.
go away.
Everyone up there knows if you went to your neighborhood and tried this same thing, you'd hit a lot of resistance. Nobody would want that changed in their neighborhood. You all live in nice neighborhoods, and nobody would want a bowling alley in their neighborhood. Nobody would want a veterinarian clinic in their neighborhood. And none of that other stuff that she read off is real appealing to me, to be in my neighborhood.
And we have plenty of commercial property that could be used for whatever you wanna do, that's sitting empty. We have a lot of buildings that it would be great to see some things in. You mentioned out there, off Northwest Street, and yes, there were people that objected to that. But that particular project did not encompass anyone's homes. You were out there in an area that had not been developed. I've got concerns about some of it I think is great, but it's not in my back door. It's not going to decrease the price of my property. And I just think it is unfair that when you have as many people as you have that has reached out and let you know that we absolutely do not want that in our neighborhood. I think because you are elected officials, that you should be bound by some kind of an honor contract to follow the advice of the people that put you in office.
So, I think that where we're at with this is, it's really kind of a catch-22. We either do not rezone this, and that building dilapidates, and then somebody, so we've got two choices. We can do nothing and we're for sure it will dilapidate, or we can rezone it, whether that be R4 or C2, and it may still dilapidate, or he can fix it.
Well, what he's telling us, Mayor, he's wanting to build apartments in there, and that's fine. So if he builds the apartments, the building will not dilapidate. It'll come on back to life. That's what he's wanting to do. The rest of the property does not need to be commercial. That's what we're trying to emphasize. That's what down the road could create a lot of problems. But once you guys make the decision, it's hard to get it turned around. You know that, we know that, and you have talked to people up there, I'm sure not many of them are for that. You need to do what the right thing and give the man the right to build his apartments. That's what he says he wants to do. Give him the right to do that, that's fine. But don't give him the right, or anyone the right that owns that property from this day forward, the right to go in there and do a commercial setting.
Mr. Brainerd, are you aware what is to the direct east of the entire location of 701 North Silver?
I can't even hear you, Jack.
Do you know what property is to the east of 701 North Silver?
No. I bet you do, don't you?
Carl Richland Memorial Hospital. Do you know what their reported revenue was last year?
I'm at it quite a bit.
$62 million.
I
You know how many
figured they'd go in
employees are at Carl Richland Memorial Hospital? 514.
But between us and Richland Memorial Hospital is a huge field.
And
It's empty.
and they
For
mow it
now,
there,
do you know that the
And
church,
they even mow it, Jack.
do you
They
know
make
that the
it look
church,
nice.
And they are not doing anything with that property, where they tore this Ciro's house down,
and they just purchased the church,
yeah,
and it will be removed?
but.
And why do you think that would be removed, Mrs. King?
I think that would be very interesting, because they bought a whole string of houses right there. Nothing has been done with them. Carl has downgraded our hospital. They are not going to be doing a lot of construction. And what they are doing now is like the new breast center. They put up on Main Street in an available building that was already there.
I'm just asking you to consider what type of enterprise is immediately adjacent to the property. And it's extremely, it might be, if not one of the top 3 or the top 2 largest commercial enterprises in the town, with hundreds of car traffic, helicopter traffic, ambulance traffic, right across the street from you.
That's all unnecessary traffic.
And actually, they don't
It's
have
absolutely-
ambulances here now anyway.
It's absolutely Nobody complains about that.
But you're,
Nobody's gonna go out there and build who knows what, a veterinary clinic. I'd be willing to bet you $1,000 right now that Carl Clinic will not build a veterinary clinic.
there was a veterinary clinic on Silver Street to the north by
Well,
Mac.
you know, you're just kicking a dead dog, cause
Well, I'm just
anybody knows
pointing
Carl
out
is
that,
gonna do
that's,
what's good for the community.
Yep.
And not what anybody wants been done. They're
Well-
not gonna go out there, what are they gonna do, make a parking lot?
Mr. Brainerd, you
You wanna make a parking lot? You know, Jack, you're off
You-
on the wrong foot there, bud.
you stated that this will be a costly project, correct? You stated that. You stated that.
I stated what?
Stated that this will be a costly project that I'm willing to undergo. I have already invested considerable sum to purchase the property. And it was available for many months before I purchased it, and I'm curious if you were so concerned that why didn't you take control of the property?
And we're not contesting you doing what you wanna do to the building.
But that's only half of the property. You are restricting me to a potential half the revenue that the
Well, when you bought
property
that
can
building, I
have.
bet you walked around it and all you seen was houses. I bet you $1, all you seen up there when you went up there to buy it was residential.
And how much exploratory did you do in advance as to what you could put on that property?
I did. I looked at it.
I built a carport. Now, my only one neighbor would have been affected in any way with that carport, we share a driveway. I went over and asked her before I ever put in an application to put up the carport, but the city sent every person on 2 blocks and the minister across the street a letter wanting to know if they had an objection to my building a carport. We did not get that courtesy, because if we had gotten that courtesy, you know, every answer that would have been negative. Absolutely, no, we do not want that.
You did receive notification when I went for the plan commission in
No,
June.
sir, I did, no, sir, we attended a planning commission, they voted in our favor, but as far as receiving anything, I can't speak for everybody. I personally did not receive it.
So,
Sonia behind me saying she didn't receive one.
we sent out, looks like to, 30, 40 people probably. Here's the list of people that were sent information. Let's see here.
Is my name on there, Mark? Cause I did not get one.
Yes, it is.
What's your address?
Joe King,
Morgan.
725.
725. Joanne King Living Trust, 725 North Morgan. Yeah, that's here.
Well, honey, I did not get one, and
Well, we-
Sonia Bull back here, hers is in the 800 block, she said she did not get one either.
Whether we got a letter or not, we
Yeah.
came to here and we voted against it. The board voted against it.
They did, and at that
Should've
time,
been a
so
done
let's,
deal, done.
this
And we
needs,
just keep coming back pecking at it.
Mr. Brainerd, give me a moment. So this was not the decision of the council to table this until this evening. It was removed from the agenda at that time, and it was requested to be brought back.
Well, I think you guys have already got your mind made up what you're gonna do. I don't think that you're gonna do what the people are asking you to do.
The people that put you in office.
And I understand that. But so, can you give me an answer as to what happens if nothing happens to that building? And it's set there and dilapidates. I do know that that will affect your property prices.
No, actually, I don't think that it will. If the property dilapidates.
I
and
grew up in
city has to
Calhoun.
come in
I
and
think it
clean
will.
up, then it's honestly not going to be that much of a detriment to us. And really, none of us is wanting to take that property away from Mr. Iyer. None of us objects if he makes apartments over there. All he needs houses. It
Oh,
would
we-
be a
we desperately
blessing if
do.
he did so.
We're not,
You can't compare apples to oranges.
we're not saying don't let him build his apartments. We're not saying that's what he wants to do. We're saying, go for it, Jack. All we're asking is you change the ruling to where you can't be commercial. Why is he so adamant about having it commercial? Why is that such a big deal in the middle of all residential?
Because in R, I cannot have a repair garage, I cannot have a theater, I cannot have office suites, I cannot have an upholstery shop.
But you
Of
said
all
you wanna
these,
do
these are all
residential.
things that I have skills and desire to do. This, I am entering my later years, and
And
I
you
want to
can't,
have my retirement to not only benefit me, but also save the property, which is our only remaining primary school that we all grew up with. And I would like it to benefit the community with additional housing and additional tax revenue. As the building comes up, the taxes go up, and the neighborhood property values go up. I'm willing to invest blood, sweat, and tears. I have already invested tens upon tens of thousands of dollars in the property, and I'm willing to go further on to develop the property to benefit everyone, including myself.
How long do you think it'd take you to develop it to get that thing completely done?
Oh, it will never be completely done.
How long do you think it'd be before you can have residents in there living?
Well, because of the zoning was not considered last month, I've taken on another project for my wife on Market Street, so I am involved in a project that will take me through the summer. Beyond that, I will have, I'm just saying, because you turned me down before, I can't stay idle. I'm gonna use my skills and ability to benefit my assets, and one is
Who
which.
wants to have an office building in a residential area?
People who live in the apartments may want to have a business suite in the very property. Anyway, I would say, I will shake a shot and I would say I will have 2 apartments ready within 18 months.
Well, I think we've stated our position, you know, there's no need. You guys need to do what you're gonna do, they ask you to do the right thing. That's all there is to it.
Questions, comments from the council?
Mr. Iyer, if you had R4, how much does that inhibit your revenue to be able to fix that
Half.
building? Half.
Half. Half.
If we could look into the future and see what would happen there 5 years from now, 10 years, 15 years, probably a different deal.
Thank you very much. So you believe it would inhibit you up to 50% of the possible revenue?
Yes. Yes. I have storage for, yes, I have a business plan. That might be a little generous, but certainly a significant amount.
And all of it will go, the commercial part would be for the office suites, correct? And then you've got the
And theater.
theater.
And my repair for my hobby.
We're picking on it.
Can somebody bring a lot full of diesel trucks that would sit there parked after you own it?
I don't know why that would be. I mean, we heard talk of a ready-mix plant and a bowling alley in Carlisle. It is not the area. If anyone is investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in developing a business, they're going to look at the proper location. No one would come in to
You're
put.
not getting the point, Jack. It's
I-
not what you're gonna do, it's what's gonna happen in the future.
What would be the incentive to do that there in that neighborhood with a
What's
hospital
the
across the
incentive
road?
of doing what you're wanting to do?
It exists. It's
It
conducive.
exists for
Already.
the same purpose as other people.
Aren't most trucking companies, don't they sit on industrial?
Ours do. You know where our trucking facilities are out in our industrial park. You know that's where the terminals are. That's where the traffic is. It just doesn't make any sense to think that would be developed for trucking. In now or in the future, it just doesn't make any sense.
And the hospital is encroaching. Every year,
Yes.
more and more properties bought up by them, and it is C2 or will likely be C2 from my understanding of what hospitals would need for buildings like that. And I feel like I'm stuck between 2 imperfect options here. One that says it will rot and it'll make your neighborhood horrible. And the other one that says that we have an imperfect man and an imperfect future that would be able to put dollars into this spot. we would also have to approve, building permits for something outrageous, right? If it's under C2, the city council still has to approve building permits. Now, if it's something just, that's an abomination to the neighborhood, the city council would have some leverage over that.
That is correct.
So,
If it's zoned, you have to go by the zoning, right?
That is correct.
that is
You
correct.
can't make a
And if it's
decision
zoned, you
unless-
have to go by what she said they can put in it, right?
That is correct.
Yes, but we do
Only
have,
certain things that are licensed, such as liquor establishments, could be stopped by the council.
Even if it's zoned?
Yeah, oh yeah, because you have to have a liquor license.
Pardon?
You have to have a liquor license, and so we can stop that.
That leaves so many openings of things that you don't have to have a license.
Well, there's a numerous other things, that is correct.
Yes, absolutely, you guys are. I really don't know what your issue is. I don't understand why you don't understand.
Oh, I do, I completely understand. I know that Mr. Iyer,
I don't understand why you don't understand why you don't want it in your neighborhood.
I live next to
I
Bergen
would
Manor.
rather have a building that was being refurbished than one that was being dilapidated.
I live next to Bergen Manor, and,
So if it might go, he's not gonna let it go dilapidated, he's gonna build apartments, he told you that.
But he cannot do that with let's see, R2.
R4.
No, right now, currently.
Right now, single-family residence,
So it's single-
25,000 square feet, single-family, 3 acres of property. It was zoned because it's a school, and I don't know why schools are R2, I don't know why, because it's certainly, anybody who looked at the building could see that it's not a single-family residence, just like the hospital, that's R4. Multi-family dwelling, I mean, there aren't people dwelling in the hospital, these are just, because of the neighborhoods that it serves, these zones were placed on them. But it doesn't fit the property nor what is already there, the building that was already built by the taxpayers, our grandparents. I would like to see that money continue to benefit the community.
And the hospital's C2 or will be C2 as well. So you're gonna have, if that property becomes C2. you
Marion
just
Eye Clinic
throw
across the
stone.
street is C2.
And it's C2 as well.
Yes.
So, I mean, if we rezone the hospital for C2, which is likely what they're requesting, I can't go any further than that, but I can't imagine anybody's gonna be upset about that. I don't see a better alternative than this, and I don't see doomsday if we go with C2 on this either. We still have other leverages, other ways to stop something that would destroy that neighborhood. I care about each and every part of this town. I can't stand how this town has declined and dilapidated in areas. I'm looking to double the demolition budget just this year. So I don't have perfection options in front of me, but I just don't see a better future than what this could be. So I'm sorry if I'm disappointing you guys.
Very
Don't
much
vote for
so.
me again.
Okay.
Very much so.
Council, further comments, questions?
A lot of people out there think this is a setup deal for the board.
We're going to now only take comments from the council. We've drug this out for 30 minutes. Council?
Well, I think we thrashed this horse just about as much as it can possibly be thrashed. I make my opinions well known on Facebook. Average views on my city council opinion posts are between 15 and 18,000 views. I had a grand total of 7 people send me a Facebook message requesting that I should change my mind. Because I've already publicly said on Facebook, because I'm a very what you see is what you get person, that I'm going to vote to approve. So saying all that, I would make a motion to approve this change in zoning.
Motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion from the council? Further discussion?
Roll call, please.
Further discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Councilman Fehrenbacher,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eichhorst,
No.
Councilman Iyer,
Abstain.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes, motion passes. Next item on the agenda, discussion of possible action, intergovernmental connectivity request for use of the City of Olney Police Radio Tower. Mr. Bradley.
As you know, we're in the process of completing the county-wide radio project. The radio tower at the police department is being requested for use in order to support a point-to-point data connection between certain county facilities. There would not be any additional electric cost to the city that would total any more than about $3 per month. All equipment, installation, and operational costs will be handled by the county. All equipment would remain the property and responsibility of the county, including maintenance, insurance, and removal if required in the future. If the council is agreeable to this option, we will work with the county on discussing what type of documentation will need to be adopted at a future meeting. Mr. Corey McDonald with Richland County is here to answer your question and give a short presentation.
Good evening, Hannibal. Like Mr. Bradley said, I'm sure most of you know who I am. I'm the Director of IT for Richland County, Corey McDonald. We recently undertook a project to do a point-to-point connection between the Highway Department and the courthouse. That allows us to share certain services like our internet, our phone service with the Highway Department. Same thing we did with the health office. It really cuts down some of the costs for us. In doing that, we hired a company to come in, do a survey, make sure we had line of sight, install the equipment, fine tune it, and get us up and running. Unfortunately, and you know, it's small fries really, so we're not pointing the fingers, but unfortunately, the point-to-point connection that we thought was there simply isn't. We don't have enough height on the courthouse to make that connection. We're actually able to make a connection, it's just not usable. It's, you know, operating at a much lower speed than what we wanted, so. In finding alternatives, of course, you know, we're looking at towers in the area, and OPD's tower is perfectly situated to allow that connection. Being that we have a long storied history at the county of working with the city, we all tend to get along on most matters. We simply are asking if we would be allowed to use or lease, you know, under terms to be decided, the OPD tower in order to set up a point-to-point connection with the Highway Department. Additionally, because we'd be up there anyway, it's an ample opportunity for us to also set up a point-to-point connection with the animal control building out there on Lafayette. And again, all of this is just to put all of our services, have separate services for those remote offices, pull everything under the county service umbrella. Go ahead.
Do we have any concern about what it might do to the radio service? No interference there?
No, and so I did send a summary of the project that addressed every concern that I could possibly think of that is in there. No, they're operating on completely different frequencies.
So they were good with it?
No, and also I should point out the antennas that we're gonna use are beamforming, they're directional. So they're not just blasting a signal out all over the place. It's gonna be from one point in a line to the other point. So really no interference to be expected there. I did also send an additional, more formal IGA, intergovernmental agreement, that we can use either as a template or if you guys find that it's sufficient, you can use that as the authority. That lays out our access, which would be coordinated through the city, through the police department. It lays out concerns, again, with the interference, which we don't expect any, but it also says if there is an issue, we're gonna fix it. So I tried to dot our i's and cross our t's there. The county is fully responsible for the equipment on the tower. The tower is, you know, remains the city's. We would be responsible for maintenance. We would be responsible for any electrical issues with our equipment. Of course, if there's interference, and you know, this is unofficial, but if there's interference, we can just flip the switch. I mean, it's not quite that easy, but we could turn it off if there was any sort of interference with life-saving or emergency radio equipment. So.
Questions, comments?
So that extra information was in the paperwork you sent today that's why it's not in the packets.
Yeah.
You'll have access to that.
After asking, Joe, I should have went ahead and built out the full IGA. Honestly, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just putting it out for review, but now you guys have that IGA, so hopefully at the next meeting, there can be discussion and hopefully approval. Obviously, I'd like to see the project move forward. It would be beneficial for us.
Questions, comments?
One thing I will add, just, there has been talk before of potentially sharing IT services with the county, not saying that that's the direction it's going. Equipment like this would allow that in the future. If there was any sort of IT sharing, technology or infrastructure sharing between the city and the county, this is something that would be a step in that direction. So just keep that in the back of your mind for 5-10 years down the road, maybe.
Okay.
Okay.
Any further questions? You want us to wait until next meeting to approve that intergovernmental agreement?
I think that's perfect.
We'll bring it back. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Next item on the agenda is a resolution to authorize acceptance and execution of a letter of intent from the Illinois Department of Transportation regarding improvements to FAP 116, Illinois 130. Mr. Bradley.
In your packet is a resolution that would authorize the acceptance and execution of an IDOT letter of intent regarding improvements to Illinois Route 130. You also have a copy of the proposed letter of intent. For years now, we have been aware that IDOT was formulating plans to resurface Route 130 from CSX Railroad north to 0.4 miles north of Mack Avenue. Mayor Lambert had found out at that time that due to some changes, the city would have the opportunity to have sidewalks installed by the state when the highway got resurfaced. This would be at no cost to us. In order to do this, the city would need to adopt and submit a long-range sidewalk plan to the state for their records. This was completed in 2019 and is going to be included as part of their project. Even so, the city will need to incur some cost related to the project for improving approaches to some streets that intersect with the highway. ADA curb ramp improvements, traffic signal improvements, and some lighted street signs are included in the project. The project in its entirety is estimated to total $8,352,350, and the city would only be contributing $307,150. The letter of intent will not officially obligate the city to any of this, but shows our good faith and that we are willing to collaborate. Given what we are getting out of the deal, our contribution seems very modest.
Extremely modest.
With that, these numbers are estimates, and the actual cost is not going to be known until it's actually bid out. Mr. Bridges, he's here if you have any questions for him, but he's familiar with the project. He thinks those numbers are close. The only thing that I would consider that is listed on this letter of intent is the lit street signs. I was just gonna ask the council if they were interested in doing that or ask that to be struck from the project.
What do you mean, Frank? Lighted street signs? You mean illuminated?
That's putting a light on a street sign so you can see it at night. That's all that is. So.
It would be externally lit and not internally.
Correct. Is that correct?
I don't know what kind of sign it would be. It might be lit with LEDs.
Do we have anything like that in town now?
No, you've got the signs on the arms.
Yes.
They're not lit.
Okay.
And so these would then be lit in the future.
And that would
On
be.
Route 130.
That would be every signal that we have at every intersection along Route 130 from north to Walmart.
So it'd be at Mack Avenue and south of Mack, where the residential houses are, there wouldn't be any light shining in that? Because
I
it would be.
would not think so. Do you have an opinion on that, Mike?
I don't think it would be that.
So there's just gonna be a small light shining on that reflecting.
Right.
Right.
And this is a cost of $19,200. I mean, compared to the whole project, it's minuscule.
It's basically, it's a little over 20% of it. I mean, it's just, do you think if we're getting a benefit for
I
that?
don't, I wouldn't. we're currently working without lighted signs. I don't think that I've heard anybody say, well, I drive through town, I missed my street because I couldn't read the street sign. I would defer to whatever our engineer says might be more appropriate, but
I mean, I drove down Main Street last night,
yeah.
and they're hard to see to get right up on them, but
Yeah.
you can see them, you know,
I mean, things are tight right now. If we can save $20,000, I suppose that would be prudent. This was one of the first projects that when I came on board in 2019, it was talked about, and it was like, we'd love to have sidewalks, because they had already talked about doing on the west side, and we're taking it out to the old mall. And hey, why don't we go on out where all the traffic is? And it's like, oh boy, there was all the swale there north of Mac on the west side, and it's like, boy, that's a mess. But they're going to handle all of that.
That's what they say.
Okay, so I mean, it's like, it just sounds like a really bargain for us to move forward on this. And there's a considerable amount of foot and bicycle traffic out to Walmart. I mean, we've all swerved around people, and to put a safer route for them pedestrian and bike traffic out there, yeah,
I think we have,
I am absolutely for it, certainly.
and we did have one day.
The sum total of 300,000 that we've had on the list, we don't have to spend all of it, or we do if we commit to it.
That's just an estimate, and we don't know exactly what it will be, correct?
this is yes, at some point you will sign an agreement which says you will pay.
And it will go up. I mean, just everything goes up, but still, considering the benefits to community, safety-wise community, it's a bargain.
It is.
And it's hard to see that all this stuff wouldn't eventually need to be done anyway.
And at least a portion of that could come from TIF.
Remind me,
And that's my
The
last,
traffic signals themselves, that is not an option, that is a must. That is guaranteed part of the project, correct?
Yes, I mean,
Yes.
part of that's because there'll be a sidewalk going out there now,
Yes.
so.
So all of that has
some
to
of that
stay
will have
in.
to happen, yeah.
and that was my last question. TIF money can go towards this
At least portions.
Portion of the
TIF goes
project.
up
Part
to
that's in the
Mac Plastic.
part that's in, to MacPlat, half-ish, probably more than that, a little bit. By distance.
It depends where these pieces are in there.
But a considerable portion.
Yeah, and the rest of it could come out business district funds possibly, or MFT.
Very good.
And also, I believe doing that approach is a good idea for us to, while they're doing that.
do it at the same time.
do it.
Yes.
Excellent. Questions, comments, motion to approve.
Motion to
Motion.
approve.
Second.
Second,
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda, reports from elected and appointed officials. Status report. Mr. Bradley.
I just have a couple things, due to that snowstorm, it's possible that we're going to get reimbursed for our efforts. Ms. Gwen and Tyler have been working on some estimates, we got those numbers to the state, so we'll see what that comes in at.
that'd be nice.
That's IEMA. And what else do I have? I think that's about it. Yeah, that's all I have.
I would like to comment that I think the city did a great job on the snow removal.
Yes.
It worked very hard. It's very
Oh.
good.
Thank you. Sorry.
No,
I
that's it.
forgot one thing. East-North Water Main Project. We met with Kiefer Brothers the other week, and that's a project going on East-North from Whittle to East Street, just beyond East Street, actually, to the east of East Street. And that's gonna start in March.
Very good. Any further questions for the city manager? Next item on the agenda, RCDC report. Nothing there. Chamber of Commerce report.
We just completed the chocolate tour. It is always a fun time. People love to go pick up free chocolates, and well, they're not completely free, but
Yeah.
but for the amount of chocolates you can get,
It's a great deal.
it is great. People are smiling, and people come from out of town to visit Ollie, to go on our chocolate tour, and some people even said, why don't you do it twice a year? So, also want to say the annual dues is going to have a dues drive now. And Ladies' Night is going to be at the Eagles on March the 12th. And tickets are ready for you to purchase.
Very good. Next item on the, is there anything else from the elected or appointed officials? Seeing none, I would accept a motion to enter into closed session to discuss the sale or lease price of real property, acquisition of real property, appointment, employment, compensation, and performance of specific employees, consideration of the sale or purchase of securities, and collective negotiation matters. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All